Thank you very much for giving me this time to talk about this important project and the announcement that the Trump administration made about endorsing the Lobito corridor. Let's start from there. What does that mean for this project that you've been working on for a while and for Africa as a whole?
Thank you very much for the question. So again, we're pleased to see that there's consistency, across two administrations for an important African infrastructure that is important for Africa and for the rest of the world. So we all know that the Lobito corridor, is a very transformational transatlantic project that seeks to diversify the supply chain for strategic minerals. It is a corridor that would accelerate and make viable, the transformation of those minerals and metals on the continent. It is a corridor that would open up the agricultural value chain, promote tourism, and generally make possible intra-African trade. So this is very, very important for Africa. And I would say for America in particular, so because the region contains several important rare earths and critical minerals that are important, for American firms as they seek to grow and diversify their economy, as they seek to have a lot more industrial production in America. Africa is well positioned in terms of distance between Africa and America. And the geostrategic location, makes sourcing of inputs from Africa very viable. And this project would give life to that. More importantly, it will also reduce the time it takes, for the output to get to the required market. So for us, this is an important milestone, and we're happy that the government is going to continue to develop the project alongside us. We know that they have committed some funding to the Lobito Atlantic Rail. We hope that comes through now. We know that they're in talks, with us and other partners to invest in the project, and we believe that their support will help, advance the project. So we're very pleased because they've been part of this from the beginning. We're happy that they will stay with us till the end. And more importantly, we're happy, from the inquiries that we've received about other projects that are also equally important for diversifying the supply chains for critical minerals. So we think that this is very good. I don't know if you recall, earlier I mentioned that we've done a study on the viability of battery minerals value chain, and it showed that it was very viable. Just to give you an example, by exporting the minerals, Africa can make about $12 billion, the various communities that export. But if you move to battery precursors, that is about $240 billion. If you move further to cell manufacturing, that is even more. I think that's about, if I recall correctly, it's about $1 trillion. So this is value that's available for American firms to participate in. This is value that's available for African firms to participate in. We have a firm called Arise Integrated Industrial Platform that has advanced a study on this, and we hope that they will demonstrate that this is viable, and then other people can see and follow on with investments. Our view has always been that as Africans, we must make the first step, and take the first step to develop, to de-risk the opportunity, and then we can crowd in partners. Because people don't work with concepts and ideas; they work with projects and investments. So we need to move to an investment proposition, and then people will come.
The viability of this project, you also met with the special envoy for Africa that just returned from the continent. So he saw on the ground some what is required regarding critical mineral that, as you mentioned, that the US need, the Americans. So it is not just about raw material. There's an agricultural aspect as well. There is a labor aspect as well. And you talk about the industrial park. That is the major component of this project. Could you expand a little bit on that for our investors that are still, there is trepidation among some investors because when people hear about Africa, what you're doing is a game changer to change the narrative of investing on the continent. One of the things that people are concerned about is security. The project will go through DRC, go through Zambia, go through Angola. Right now, we have security issue in DRC. So that might give some investors some concern. So, but you've built risk into this to protect investors' risk. So if you can just, I know I've covered a lot in that, but if you can talk about that aspects of how this aspect is covered, and you are using this as well to empower both Americans company as well as Africans.
So just a quick summary, of what I think we're trying to get at with your question is the viability, of other aspects beyond the critical minerals. So the first one is the critical minerals is viable, because there's a copper belt, so it's viable. And there's several other minerals, there's several other rare earths. I mentioned that we're approved financing for rare earths, again, because of the viability that now is there with the rail corridor that will be built. Interestingly, we've actually had a lot more interest from the agricultural value chain. A lot of interest. We also had a lot of interest, on a potential of tourism. We've had a lot of interest on the industrialization on the battery minerals value chain. We've signed already offtake, with a few firms like Cobalt, like Kamwaka, and several others. So it is viable. In terms of risk that you mentioned, so DRC is one of the largest countries, as large or not even larger than Western Europe. So it's a big country. We have ongoing operations there that continue to operate, with no hiccup. Of course, there are challenges in certain areas, no doubt, but it's a big country, huge country. Just imagine the size of Western Europe in
one area. Yeah.
So the fact that there's a challenge in one place doesn't mean that
it's spread around.
Exactly. And the government is aware of it as well, which is why they are in talks to overcome the security challenge. And they are, I think, making good progress, in those conversations. Again, we understand that there will be a peace or a meeting tomorrow of all the parties, which is significant progress. It shows willingness of the parties for a resolution, and it shows the Trump administration conviction, in ensuring that there's a resolution. Because a resolution is important, for business to thrive. Because they're focused on business, I'm sure we'll have lasting solutions now on those issues. And from what we've heard, from what has been presented to us, and the role that we're asked to play, we can see that this is something viable and this could be something lasting. But again, I can't go into details, because there's still ideas that are being considered.